So I'm a little hurt today and a little conflicted in my
Why's that?
emotions. Why? Well, you know what? I hate to say it because this man is already catching enough flack right now, but I blame it all on Lin-Manuel Miranda and his latest production, In the Heights.
It's a story of a block that was disappearing.
At least all the dark-skinned people were when it comes to this movie right here. That's why I'm conflicted, people, because if you remember the review for this, I said the movie had some problems. The subplots in the movie, they were kind of corny, they were kind of cheesy, but it's a musical, so I was able to let that slide. But the production on this is amazing. And this is In the Heights, produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda, written by him. It was on Broadway before it became a motion picture. And as I said, I really enjoyed this film, but my conflict in this comes from now I'm hearing people feel, well, underrepresented in this movie, are not represented at all. And there seems to be, this is where the controversy comes in, because people say that, well, on the one hand, colorism is a big problem out there in many ways, and it has much more damaging effects than people realize. But at the same time, well, this movie, it was representing somebody that was underrepresented. It was trying. I mean, it had his heart in the right place. And who knows? Maybe it wasn't even these people's fault who made it. Maybe it's just the Hollywood system, our society itself, that just kind of has a subconscious effect on how we put these things out there. But as I was saying, you can see right here In the Heights reignites long-standing conversations about colorism in the Latinx community. I'm going to go ahead and let Christian take this. I mean, after all, Christian is Puerto Rican, if I'm correct, sir.
Correct, sir.
And I'm passing it on to you because I'm very curious to see what your opinion on this is.
Oh, God. All right, let me just say right off the bat, because I agree with you. I don't think it's a perfect film, but I will tell you that I've never felt more seen or more heard in a film in my life than while watching In the Heights. It was the rhythms of how my family speaks back on the island. It's like it was a big love letter to that. Also, I'm from New York as well, and so like I felt a lot of things about this movie, and mostly it was this joyous kind of expression for me. So having said that, when this news first kind of broke, there was a article written over on The Root by, I believe her name is Felicia Leon, and she says, "Hey, what's going on? Who's actually represented in the Heights?" And that's a good question, but I got to tell you, my first one, and I'm going to like warts and all here, my first one was to immediately shun this as a conversation because I was still high on the afterglow. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, because sometimes we've talked about this. Sometimes you'll bring up something and you're into what you're saying, and I never play the clip that you give me. So do you want me to play the clip?
No, we're going to play the clip. But
okay.
I just want to say really quickly that was sort of my beef with it, was that I was already in celebration mode. I was still on that high of saying like, hey, there we are on screen, and we're not selling drugs and we're not shooting people. We're just people with fucking like hopes and dreams and loves and all that stuff. So when I heard the criticism, I got really shitty about it because I didn't want to hear the larger conversation. And then I think I took a step back, and I wanted to hear it. And so, yeah, let's play the clip because I want everyone to see what went viral and what sparked this whole conversation.
Okay.
Congratulations on In the Heights.
And by the way, before we go any further, Felicia Leon is talking to the director, John M. Chu.
Most of your principal actors were light-skinned or white-passing Latinx people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something we talked about and I needed to be educated about.
Yeah, by the way, my favorite part of that is that, like, John M. Chu's like, that's the first question? This is supposed to be a puff piece, and you come at me with that as your opening question? And he didn't have an answer for it. He kind of stammered his way through that. And, so taking it back to just my personal experience, which is to say this, I felt very seen, I felt very heard, and I think that there is a legitimate case to be had.
And I still like the movie a lot, but, I have to claim that I don't know everything about the controversy with this. And the controversy being, Washington Heights being very influenced by Dominican culture, being very diverse, and being, and there's a lot of dark skin that is that does live in Washington Heights. That is, it's very diverse in that sense of different skin tones. I did not know that. I don't live in Washington Heights. I don't know if I've ever been to Washington Heights except for maybe just passing through or something. So that's my ignorance on this. So when somebody brings this up, because I remember somebody asked me the other night, and I had to stop myself because I said, well, damn, he was making Lin-Manuel Miranda, when he made this, he had this whole idea of putting in people who he feels looks like him, who are underrepresented. And not every time when somebody makes a movie, they're not obligated to put, just like my argument with Woody Allen and everybody else, is like they're not obligated to put people of color in there if they're putting their experience. I see people in the chat right now, well, this is a stupid argument. Well, fuck, they had a black guy in the movie. That's the kind of thing that I really hate when I see that. This is why I hate being on the internet arguing with people, because people come in with their defenses up and they're ready to just call something stupid without understanding. And I see this a lot, especially when things of controversial nature, especially when it comes to race. The first thing that people say is, why are you making a big deal out of this? Why can't you just, like, somebody will talk and I'll let you know you want me to introduce this clip, but somebody else is like, why can't you just leave it alone?
This is an interesting conversation to have. This is an interesting discourse. It doesn't mean that the film isn't enjoyable, or the film isn't good, or it has wonderful production values. We're asking something deeper than that. Where I want to come at people who say, well, like, it's about the genetic makeup of Washington Heights, I would say it goes much deeper than that. It's about the genetic makeup of what it means to be Spanish, to be a West Indies Spanish person, which is like in PR, we have people that look like me. We have people that look much darker. We're all Puerto Rican, and that happens in DR, Cuba, all over the place. And in fact, most of the like darker actors and actresses who are in the film are of those descents. So it's like, I can understand people trying to say, oh, like you're represented a little bit. Isn't that enough? Like, they're bearing the flag that you wear, but it's like, we are a kaleidoscope anyway. That same argument, like, can be used the other way. You alluded to this. Let me talk about this. The reason this film is so big to me is because for the longest time, our claim to fame pop culturally was West Side Story, where we are the villains of it. And there's only one Puerto Rican in that whole movie, who is the wonderful Rita Moreno, and I do love her. I think she's amazing. She just has a documentary out, and she was on Colbert Show. And it was really interesting because this was apropos of nothing. She didn't bring this up, or he didn't bring this up. She brought it up and wanted to talk about this controversy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear what she has to say about this issue.
This is the man who literally has brought Latino-ness and Puerto Rican-ness to America. I couldn't do it, and I'm proud that he produced my documentary.
And so,
also she might have a little bit of bias because, he produced that documentary. But, okay, so it's that kind of thing that I'm talking about, because I think a lot of people don't understand, and this is the problem with colorism. Colorism has affected the mentality of so many other cultures out there, and to the point it's affected black people. Maybe they're caught up in a system where that influences the casting and whatnot, but they themselves did not intentionally mean to hurt anybody. I think they actually went in with the best intentions, and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. But I think that they thought that they were representing people and they were doing a great thing. And if they missed the mark, then come in with understanding and have that conversation. But don't go in mad. Don't go in saying racist. Don't go in saying you motherfuckers. I think there's a way to address this, and everybody has to have some understanding on every part.
Yeah, I'm really sad because I wish everyone felt the way I felt when I watched this movie. I 100% think that there was no ill will here.
This is one of the things that really made people of color, darker skinned people of color, upset. I think there was a number in the movie where they were talking about that. There was a number where the character of Corey Hawkins, or whatever the actor's name, character in the play, Benny, yeah, I think that there was something about an issue with him being darker skinned, and that was removed from the movie. So, not only did they take that out, where that would have meant something to address that for people, they took it out and then kind of, light brown washed the thing. So I can see where people would feel like, wow, at first it might seem a slight oversight, but you intentionally tried to sweep that under the rug, man, and ignore that. And so I can see why a lot of people would feel like, wow, you really did want to make this more appealing to people by making it a little bit lighter, to the point where you took out an important musical number that would mean something to somebody.
What else do people really want in this situation? I think you can see that that was a clear love letter and something that he feels very, very proud of. And his only regret is that it didn't include more people under that umbrella. How do we fix that going forward? It's not by being combative. It's by listening to that and figuring out ways to improve. And I'm really happy that, at least on the surface, he's doing that.